YouTube UTV 124, Facebook UTV 124, Instagram UTV 124, Twitch UTV 124, TikTok UTV_124, and Flow TV channel 124. Remember, UTV, TV for you.
The opinions expressed on this TV program by the host, co-host, guest, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions and responsibility of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of UTV or its affiliates.
Welcome to one and all sons and daughters of St. Lucia who love the land that gave them birth, gave us birth. This is the Revolution, sending shout outs to the folks who have been toiling with us over at Hits Radio 92.1 in the north, 91.1 in the south, that's FM. Those locked in on UTV on Flow, channel 124. Those locked in on Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. Of course, to all of those locked in on Facebook, we have a lot to cover. There are only 7 days left before the day of judgment for us as a people. People always say that this election is the most important. The last election was the most important, and we failed the test. This time, and democracy is not about making the right decision, it's about having the right to make a decision. And now even that is under threat. You've seen the games, you've seen the outright vote buying. You've heard the police, particularly the hierarchy of the police, doing nothing about the transgressions. I'm not talking about motorcades, I'm talking about buying of votes in contravention of the Elections Act and how open and blatant it is. But 7 days, and it'll be a referendum on us. Will St. Lucians vote for themselves? It's not UWP versus Labour. It is St. Lucians versus Chasney, his cabal, and the FFF. It's plain and simple. And you don't need to go on faith. It is happening every day. Chasney up to today could still be announcing relief and trying to help people in meaningful ways. But nope, it's all about elections. An election which seems to be characterized by the UWP with a sense of animosity and anger. The same elitist, condescending mentality that Chasney has. I'm treating you like shit and you don't appreciate it? Seems to be pervasive among all of them. They seem to have all the anxieties, but do not let them project it onto you. And do not believe that this election will be easy. Do not believe that it will be decisive or a landslide, because what these guys cannot win, they will steal. Right now you have people in the electoral department disenfranchising the registration of people who they believe to be Labour Party supporters. Good afternoon, Miss Morrill. Yes, you I'm talking about. And others. Right? There are a lot of things going on. You need to make sure to check for your name on the voters list. Make sure you are registered. I just did it this morning. Make sure you are still registered where you're supposed to be, because what they cannot win, they will try to steal. They will frustrate the process. I'm asking the media to go to the electoral department and first of all, find out and do a story on what you do if your name is not on the voters list, where it was before for elections past if you have voted before, or if you have registered as a new voter. We need to ring the alarms before anything happens so that we box them in, because these cornered rats are going to do anything and everything to steal this election. It is only 7 days before, and for me, I cannot wait to vote, because like I said, I am voting for the Christopher Hunt that was jailed and had his civil rights and civil liberties affronted. I'm voting for Bang from New Extension. I'm voting on behalf of Mr. Wilkie Larcher and so many others. And when I go inside of there, I'm telling you, I will go with the solemnity of almost prayer. But I tell you, for me, when I put my X and when I dip my finger in the ink, as far as I'm concerned, in my mind, it will have the force and reckoning of a nuclear explosion. That is my mission. As long as I'm on the earth, as long as God spares my life, that's where I'm going. But in the meantime, with the time that we have left, we have to continue to follow the path of wherever the truth takes us. And right now, it's into some seedy shit that's being normalized. So where do we start? Well, let's show the people. Let's put up the first meme. Edmund Estefan, you have been painting, you have been acting like an absolute thug in your constituency. You have been running that constituency like almost like a baron, like a crime lord. It's bad enough, and we can come off the picture for a second. Bad enough that Edmund Estefan already, we can come off that picture for a second. It's bad enough that Edmund Estefan already has had the Dennery Islet, a heritage site, bastardized by having his people, his henchmen, paint all over the heritage site and send a young lady over there to film without permission and further desecrate the site with a flag of what can only be looked at as somebody in special needs in terms of Estefan's flag. What's even worse is that for the past number of days, all of the posters that are the democratic expression of anybody, but particularly Prosper's Starbatch's posters and flags are continue to be chopped down, ripped down, pulled down all over Dennery South, even right opposite the police station, and nothing is being done. And Edmund Estefan continues to sanction the destruction of not only his community by defacing it by painting the heritage site of the Dennery Islet, but also by continuously sending out people to threaten the merchandise, the posters, the banners, rip them down, tear them down over and over again, and continues to encourage it personally. And I'm saying it out loud, and I'm inviting the media to go down, get the stories from the people who are witnessing it happen. There is a culture of thuggery being extolled by Edmund Estefan in Dennery South. And it is a sad day for our democracy when somebody who's a sitting minister in the government, in the cabinet, in the cabal, can literally be extolling election violence in the sense of defacing and vandalizing people's property in terms of the posters. Nobody's pulling down his flags with his retarded face there. Nobody's pulling down anything. Nobody's going on Dennery Islet except the United Workers' Party supporters that he is sending over there. And they have a tone and an anger which is palpable. The last time I went there, a guy threatened to shoot me because I was walking in the same direction as him. Imagine that. I have the video to prove it. I just haven't played it. I'll probably wait for Thursday. In the meantime, let's go to the next photo. Next meme. Here you have this weekend past. You have Viewfort South constituency. I'll read it out for those on radio. Viewfort South will rise motorcade. Sunday the 18th of July, start time 1 p.m. Starting point, bus stop before the traffic lights. And here you have Herman Gill Francis as the Minister for National Security. And I want to zoom in. Free rum punch will be available. So you want to encourage people to drive. We've just come off a weekend before, not this weekend, the one before, of 2 sets of multiple car pileups, both with the Labour Party and the UWP. A vehicle even went off of a bridge, right? You had multiple accidents. But Herman Gill, and we can come off of that, Herman Gill Francis as the Minister for National Security, Herman Gill Francis as the Minister for Justice, literally is encouraging people, and this is called an enticement, an inducement, to come to drive and be on a motorcade so there can be willful, participatory, drunk driving. And this is a man who's supposed to be the guardian and the policy driver for law and order in St. Lucia. Let's go to the next one. Yes, inducements vote buying in all different kinds of ways. Let's put up the next meme. Oh yes, the Soccerama. That doesn't look so bad. There is so Soccerama, lots of cash prizes to be won. Meet and greet your Uncle Shas. Uncle Ass has the date of the Sunday, the 18th of July, 4 p.m. No, but let's go to the next meme and let it be said so you can see it properly for what it is. Shasney has a $1,000 prize and many giveaways to be won right on the eve of elections. This is what Shasney is doing. So they'll take video of fellas playing soccer, right? And folks, and we can come off of that. I want you to think about this, folks. You remember just a couple of weeks ago or months ago, Shasney was literally paying hundreds of thousands of dollars, albeit late, to COVID wardens to go and run behind people on playing fields. We still have COVID. We still have only 12% of the population vaccinated. But you're having Soccerama, right? And you're paying out to people. And this has become normalized. The UWP is in government. What example are they setting for the children? What is the example that they setting for the society? And what are they telling you? If this isn't the lesson definition of the slave mentality and the massa mentality, that you believe that you own people, that you can buy them and sell them and trade them, take their registration and put it wherever you want and so on. It can only be a colonial mentality, the mentality of a colonialist with his house slave, his house niggers. That's what you have to call them, because that's what they are, that will look to perpetuate that on their own fellow man, knowing that when you give some destitute lady $200 and a t-shirt, like what Fede is doing, he's giving you a bounty grabber, a UWP football jersey, right? And they're giving you $200. Why? What made them think of $200? Up to now, I don't know. But that is supposed to be what you are worth, what your vote is worth, what your civil liberties are worth. That will have them to do whatever they want to you for the next 5 years. And you think if you vote for them and endorse their behavior, it will get better? Nonetheless, I go back into the Elections Act. Let's put up the first one. And I'll just glance through a couple of parts of it. Let's put up the first part of the Election Act. For inducements, a person, every person who upon or in consequence of any gift, loan, offer, promise, procurement, or agreement procures or engages, promises or endeavors to procure in the return of any person as an elected member of the House or vote of any elector, any person. Every person who advances or pays, causes to be paid any money to or to use any other person with the intent of such money or any part thereof shall be expended in bribery at any election, or who knowingly pays or causes to be paid any money to any person in discharge or repayment of any money wholly or in part expended in bribery at any such election. Every elector who before or during any election, directly or indirectly, by himself or herself, or by any other person on his or her behalf, receives, agrees, or contracts of any money, gift, loan, or valuable consideration, office, place, or employment for himself or herself or for any other person for voting or agreeing to vote, or for refraining or agreeing to refrain from voting at any such election. Every person who after any election, directly or indirectly, by himself or herself or by any other person on his or her behalf, receives any money or valuable consideration on account of any person having voted or refrained from voting, or having induced any other person to vote or refrain from voting in any such election. The foregoing provisions of this section shall not extend or be construed to extend to any money paid or agreed to be paid for on account of any lawful expenses incurred in good faith and consideration. Let's go to the next one. So all of these speak to bribes. Influencing electors to vote during the hours that the poll is open. Upon polling day, a person shall not upon any public road or on any public space within 100 yards of any building in which a polling station is situated seek to influence or any elector or to vote for any candidate, or to ascertain for what candidate any elector intends to vote or has voted. Number 2, a person who contravenes subsection 1 commits an offense and is liable on summary conviction to a fine of $250 or imprisonment for 3 months or both, or to both such fine and imprisonment. And let's just do bribery one time. Bribery: the following persons shall be deemed guilty of bribery within the meaning of this act. Every person who directly or indirectly by himself or herself or by any other person on his or her behalf gives, lends, or agrees to give, lend, offers, promises, or promises to procure, to endeavor to procure any money or valuable consideration to or for any elector or to or for any other person in order to induce any elector to vote or refrain from voting, or corruptly does any such act aforesaid on account of any elector having voted or refrained from voting in any election. And we'll come off of that, right? The point of the matter is, folks, you can see clear violations that the police officers are not acting on. Your cell phone, your video, your camera on your cell phone must be your weapon. But come election day, do not wait for election night or election in the afternoon. As soon as you see something, film it, broadcast it, go to the police, film yourself, and the police cannot stop you from filming them. They are paid by the public and you have the right to film them. Film yourself telling Daisy and Shalry and all the others, film yourself showing the video to them. Film it, broadcast it on Facebook Live, put it out on social media, send it to me, 519-1818, and any other media house, whether it be Choice, NBC, HTS, it doesn't matter. Hot 7, send them out. Send it to the radio stations. Send it to the TV stations, DBS, send it to RCI, Hits Radio, you name it. Get it out there so that the election officials, the observers, everybody can see. And once it's posted on social media, they cannot run from it. Vigilance is the price of democracy. And you know that we have a super corrupt government, worst in history, so they will do whatever it takes. So where do we go from here? Well, let's get into the fanfare of the weekend, but first, listen to this.
And I have to pause and say, Mr. Speaker, I have to say kudos to every single member of Parliament sitting here, because this life is not easy. It is not easy, Mr. Speaker. Sarah. The great privilege that I have, the honor that I have, the good opportunity that I have to serve the people of Castries Central. I'll be honest, this is a very challenging constituency. Mr. Speaker, politics now is so much more challenging than when I entered as a 26-year-old in 1996. So much more challenging. Mr. Speaker, when I entered politics, there was not the cell phone. I've said this so many times. Mr. Speaker, when I entered politics, there was not the constituency office. When I entered politics, Mr. Speaker, I do not recall having to pay anybody to put up posters anywhere. I do not recall having to pay